Hi, I'm the developer behind BreederBuddy, and in this video, I'll be showing you how to manage your dogs in BreederBuddy, and I'll be walking through each feature in the app that could help you run your program in general. So, to dive in, we'll just get right into it. This is your dog's page in the app, and this part's fairly straightforward. This is a page that allows you to search by name and filter your dogs by tags or by a couple preset categories that I'll explain quickly. So these filters up here allow you to search and filter by your dogs by the type of dog. So for instance, you could filter by your active breeding dogs. You could filter by your retired dogs, if you have any. You could filter by all dogs who are puppies, namely those that you've sold or are just of type puppy. You could also filter by your current puppies. So these would be puppies that have yet to go home and are not assigned to an owner. And lastly, you could filter by your puppies who are considered placed. These would be puppies that have gone home and have an owner assigned to them. Another cool thing that you could do that we'll get into in a little bit is create your own custom tags to search and filter your own way. So you could see I have two tags here, one for trained and one for high drive. And so I created these custom as a user in the app, and what I could do is filter by dogs who I've labeled and tagged as trained specifically. So it's a cool way to essentially filter your own way and group your dogs in your own way. Gives you full control to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click into Diva here, who is a demo dog, and we'll get into the dog profile page. So this is the dog's profile page. You'll see right up at the top here is the dog's profile picture. If I wanted to change that, I could click this photo icon and choose a new picture or upload one. And the cool thing is you could do this straight from your phone. So it's a really cool way to manage your dogs and kind of give it a little bit of flair and have a cute little picture to identify them. You'll also see the dog's type and their age and kind of quick bite-sized information at the top. And then also you'll notice this tags section, which is what I had just mentioned prior on the prior page, where if I wanted to tag this dog with something else, I could give it a tag that I've already created, or I could create a new tag from scratch and group this dog into a specific category of my choosing. I know a popular way to do that is a lot of people will create tags for a specific coat color or a specific size and so on. So the profile page and most pages in the app are organized in what I call just simply tabs. And this first tab here is the details tab, and this is what you would expect. It's the dog's details. Everything from name to type to gender to date of birth. And there's also this additional details box, which includes things like status, fertility status, size, height, color, and so on. Microchip and registration numbers. Everything you need to kind of keep track of the dog's attributes. A cool thing I could point out is the collar color property. And this is a really cool feature of the app that is basically used to visually identify the dog or puppy, both in real life when you put that collar on the dog. You could go ahead and match that to the color of that collar in the app. Let's just say I choose green. And if I come down here and hit save, you'll actually see that the dog's profile picture is bordered in green as though it was a collar. So this is a really great feature for new litters. I know oftentimes puppies that are brand new, right from a new litter that's just given birth, don't yet have names. So a really cool way to still visually identify them is to just simply give them collar colors within the app, and that way, you don't have to remember names or give them placeholder names. It's just right there. So this green collar will be present anywhere you see that dog within the app. So just a cool little thing there. And lastly, the last box in the details tab is the parentage and ownership box. And to put it simply, that's where you could set the dog's father and mother and optionally assign an owner to the dog. Moving on to the health tab. The health tab is where you could keep all of your dog's health records, anything to do with vaccinations, deworming, health tests, breedings, or any other records, all in a single place tied to that dog. You can see a couple of examples I've entered here. For instance, this deworming record is placed on this dog, and they were dewormed this September 5th. And so a cool thing about this health tab in general is you could attach documents to that health record as well, but what you could also do is create follow-up events. So considering that we last dewormed September 5th, I could click this button to create a follow-up reminder and automatically configure this to deworm, say, a month from now, if that was what you were doing. And I could set the type to deworming as well. And so when I set that, the health tab will now remind me that I have to follow up with this specific item in 20 days from now. And it will also send me an email notification. So it's a really cool way to keep track of all of your dog's health records. This follow-up reminder will also sync to your Apple or Google Calendar. And so it's accessible anywhere, and you can have reminders for it anywhere as well. So that's basically the health tab in a nutshell. One really cool feature of the health tab that a lot of breeders love is the ability to export this report to a PDF. And it essentially looks something like this, where you'll get a nice looking report of the dog's attributes, things like registration numbers and whatnot, and then also all of their prior vaccinations, dewormings, health tests, breedings, and other records that you place on there. And so this is a really nice and useful report that you could give to your puppy buyers or your veterinarian and so on. So moving on to the litters tab. This is a fairly straightforward tab. It shows basically any litters that the dog has had in the past, and if they were a part of any litter, it would show that litter. And it will also allow you to click into that litter to go to that litter's profile page. But we'll leave the litters for another video. So the events tab is kind of part of the same system that I had mentioned earlier with that follow-up event. You can actually see that follow-up event is right here, deworming follow-up. And so a cool thing about events on this page is that you can mark them as done, and by marking it as completed, it'll automatically create that health record on your dog. You can actually see this one is already linked to the health record. So when I mark it completed, it'll automatically create that record. So you'll see that it has actually created a second deworming health record since we marked that follow-up event as completed. So another cool thing you could do with events is create care schedules, which will probably be its own separate video. But essentially, care schedules allow you to create a predefined sequence of events and reminders that you would apply to a dog or litter. So I have a couple examples here. This one here, this schedule is a pregnancy progesterone check and follow-up. So I know often when a dog has gone into heat and has been mated, there's a couple days that in particular you would want to check when that dog has possibly had a positive pregnancy test. And so when that dog has been mated, say today, we could apply that schedule. And you'll actually see here the events and reminders have been created from today for that particular schedule. You can see D0 is when the dog has gone into heat. Day 3 is when you should begin testing, and day 10 is the end of ovulation. And so this is a really cool way to basically build out a set of reminders so that you don't have to remember to enter each and every single one every single time, since you'll probably breed a female dog more than once in your life as a dog breeder. So moving on to the weights tab. This is a fairly straightforward tab, but it's pretty cool. So what it allows you to do is enter weights. So you can see here we could just click the button, add new weight. And so it'll actually tell you your last recorded weight and on what day that was. So you can see this is just demo data, but the last recorded weight was 9 pounds on September 14th. And so a cool little feature that the app does is it'll actually tell you if you're coming in under or over the last recorded weight. So for instance, if I enter 13 pounds, it'll tell you that things are looking good because puppies grow over time. Hopefully they're not getting smaller. And so it'll give you a green check mark and tell you the percentage increase of the puppy from the last time it was weighed. Another cool thing is it'll actually also warn you if the puppy has lost weight from your last recorded weight. And so you could see this is 2 pounds lower than than the previous weight that was recorded, and so it'll kind of flag it, and just to give you an extra warning. The app is kind of looking out for you if the puppy was to be losing weight or anything. And if I put it somewhere kind of in the middle, it'll let's say like 8 pounds and 15 ounces. It's only 0.7% less than it was before, so it'll just be a yellow flag, because that could be a simple day-to-day fluctuation in weight. So pretty cool system there. You can see if I add this weight, this chart is now reflecting that updated recording. And then lastly, you can convert it to your favorite unit of measurement. So if you prefer to weigh in grams, you can do so, and you'll see everything is converted over to grams pretty seamlessly. So moving on to the attachments tab, this is a relatively straightforward tab. Here's where you could upload dogs or upload files specific to the dog. This can include pictures, health records, anything you want into the attachments tab, and you can download and view those files easily. The pedigree tab is something that is a work in progress, but essentially what it does now is allow you to view your dog's lineage. Again, this is demo data, so it's not as fleshed out as it could be, but you can see the dog exists here. So we're seeing the dog's mother and father, and seeing the litter that she's a part of horizontally here in the same row. And so you could imagine if the dog had many offspring to many different litters, this would become quite a big chart where you could easily just kind of like explore their lineage and heritage. So just a cool way to keep track of things. Long term, I want to continue to expand this feature and offer more features such as pedigree reports and things like that, genealogy reports and that kind of thing. But this is it for now. Finally, the last tab is the heat cycles tab. And so the heat cycles tab appears when the dog is a breeding dog and when it is a female. Pretty self-explanatory. And so what it allows you to do is track your dog's heat cycles. You could click this button to add a heat cycle, and you could record when it occurred or when it started. And you could also give it, you could provide a fertile window start offset and an end offset. And this is when you expect the fertile window to begin and end. And so that would be actually the window where you decide to mate. You could also add any notes onto that heat cycle. And again, this is another cool feature of the app, is it's actually kind of smart, and so it's keeping track of your previous recordings, and so it'll tell you your last recorded heat cycle, and it will also tell you the estimated next heat cycle. And so this will actually take the difference between your heat cycles. So every dog fluctuates a little bit. Some may be 6.5 months, some may be 6 months on the dot, and so this will tell you your average cycle length, and then how much days remaining until their next heat cycle might start. So a pretty cool way to keep track of heat cycles. Lastly, I'll just throw this in. There's a litter planner tab page. It's a whole dedicated page where you can view all of your female breeding dogs' heat cycles stacked on top of one another. And so this is a cool way to essentially see when you might have multiple females going into heat at the same time, and kind of give you a high-level overview of how many litters you might be expecting, and whether or not you might decide to skip a litter if you already have 2 coming in the same month, for instance. And so I think that concludes managing your dogs in BreederBuddy. Thank you for watching, and in future videos we will be going through the litters page and all the other features that the app is great for, such as managing your customers, managing applications, sending invoices, building contracts, and more. So thank you for watching. Have a good day.